All right, welcome to another edition of the Mexican Soccer Show, brought to you by FootNetSource.com. We had a lot of fun today on this show. This is Monday Night Football. Not many sports happening in the next couple of days before we get to the heavies with finales, with all this. Lots to talk about. Get to a computer, a laptop. Follow us on the chat so we can go ahead and get started here. All right, so from FootNetSource.com. This is an hour-long podcast dedicated to all things Mexican football. We have a lot of fun today on the show. Lots and lots to talk about, including semifinals that blew everybody out of the water. Don't care if you weren't watching the game. You knew what was happening on social media. People talking all about the calls, the refs were obviously the big story. Semifinals always dramatic, but I think a little bit more this time. We'll be talking all about that. At the same time, news of Luis Suarez not going to play in the Mexico game at least. I think he's going to be out for a couple of weeks. Might not even be ready for the Copa America. Who knows? So we'll be chatting with Naive and Cesar about the Mexican national team. Go maybe into some Raúl. Necaxa now is back. If you're a Rayado fan, you get the pleasure of seeing your team in the Primera once again. We'll be chatting with Cesar, I am sure, and Naive about this 10-8 rule. It's going to be kind of a little interesting on the takes on that. So lots of topics today. There's no way we're going to just kind of stay silent. We'll stay on top of Mexican football, even though we don't have Mr. Tom Marshall, who was going to join us. But things happen sometimes where you just have to write an article and you're given that notice. So make sure that hopefully he can come back in a little bit. But first, let's go ahead and say hi to everyone. Let's say hi on the experts today. A great cast, Mr. Naive Moran, joining us from El Defectuoso, la Ciudad de México. Naive, ¿cómo estamos?
Buenas noches. We saw Cesar, and also soon we'll have Tom probably joining in. Basically, like you said, I think the intro was perfect in regard to what's going on with Mexican football. We will have sort of a final and then the first friendly for El Tri before the Copa Centenario. So everything is bunching up. El movimiento de transferencias, the draft, how we call it, will happen June 7th and June 8th. So lots of stuff going on in Mexico.
Definitely, lots of stuff going on. For us in the media, journalists like you guys, it becomes, we have a game here, then we have something to write about, then we have to look at that. So especially Liga MX, bad planning on the FMF, I think so, just for my sake. We're not talking about Carlos Sanchez. Just for us. I mean, we got to have some time. We got articles. So Tom can't be on here.
We still got the 2 Alone tournament that's going on too. We got the Copa Libertadores. We can go on and on.
There is a lot that we can go on and on. This might be a 2-hour show today. We'll keep it. We'll keep it. As you can hear, some Maná in the background.
Wait, so why don't you actually bring out your guitar and then play the intro for us?
I think it's somewhere in here. I think, yeah. Last show I left in the background. Somebody noticed. We'll do that. But Mr. Cesar Hernandez in San Diego, Tijuana area with the Viva Mexico flag in the background. You can see his picture, his profile pic is getting really close with the short. That's a mascot, right, from Xolos?
Xolos, yeah. No, we're good friends. Sometimes we go over to his place, we hang out. I could tell you some tales about him. Get it?
You hang out with all the. I was about to say something else, but it's definitely not appropriate.
Let's keep this
his
PG-13.
Female friends. Oh, fun times. And like you said, Mr. Cesar is not on. He was supposed to come on. It wasn't like we're lying. We're not trying to get more views because Mexico World Cup. This Tom Marshall is coming on the show. He was supposed to come on, but he had to write a quick story, and hopefully he can come back and tell us what's the story that he couldn't wait. All right, because when Tom's not here, and he said he is, something's brewing.
Yeah, what's more important to the Mexican soccer show?
Right. This is where we're at. But let's go ahead and get started. As far as what is happening on the chat, if you are part of the Mexican Soccer Show, when you come on and jump on the chat, definitely try to get in and talk to. Let's see who's on there. Christopher Ortuño, Latava, Sava, let's see. We have the regular Mr. Stray Goats, Eddie V, So lots and lots. There's some new faces on there. MMO. Oh, I get that one. Yeah, I shouldn't read everything as I see it. I call that one the Foca. But lots of fun. Get to a computer and you can join the chat. You can ask us some questions. I know Cesar and Naive usually look on there and they're able to describe what's happening or if there's any questions that are there. But as you can see, the intro music is ended. So let's go ahead and get started. We have a lot and lots to talk about and get you all prepared for what's happening in the week and what happened last week. So we have to go in right away with what it was. Let's go into Liga MX semifinales. Obviously, it's the big story of the weekend. If you have a chance to record, or you recorded the show, or you were able to download this semifinal between Monterrey and the last game, obviously on Saturday, Monterrey and America, this is one of those games that if you're ever bored ever again and you're like, what am I going to watch? It was kind of like me on a Friday last week. Get this game on and watch it over and over and over. Just beautiful, beautiful goals all around. Dramatic. You probably don't want to watch it if you're an America fan over and over and over. I get it. But if you're a fan of the beautiful game, it doesn't matter if you're even a Mexico fan. If we have any other non-Mexico fans watch this game, it was amazing. And the drama of the Liguilla, like always. Yes, people were talking about the ref, and we're going to go ahead and discuss it because it wouldn't be, the Mexican soccer show if we don't discuss the refs. We can just have the ref soccer show. I mean, just a show about refs and what can happen. But we'll analyze what can happen. But overall, regardless if you're an America fan or Monterrey fan or León fan, you enjoy watching these types of games to the last minute, and I give it all for the Liga MX, and it's just one of the most exciting leagues. Tom Harrison, for a writer for Food Mex Source, kind of said you can't see this, and there's not this type of atmosphere anywhere else in the world at this time, and very few leagues will you have a semifinal. I retweeted that not that many places have Liguilla formats and semifinals, and maybe that's why, but at the same time, it is right. So let's go ahead and talk to Mr. Naive and Mr. Cesar Naive, the final. Let's not get into the era penal, no era penal just yet. Let's go football terms on what you saw. Most of you, I had America winning. I think you had Monterrey, Naive, if I'm not mistaken. So, overall, your thoughts before we get into the controversial, dramatic no era penal, si era penal calls.
No, I think what made this series special and what makes a team like Monterrey stand out is the talented players it has. You see Edwin Cardona, Carlos Sanchez, who were expensive buys for Rayados. They brought them from South America, and they're paying dividends in the maximum stage possible. I mean, I think that they were key. Sanchez and Cardona. Also, Gargano and Jonathan Orozco had excellent performances. Those are sort of the invisible ones. But overall, I think you saw that the 11 players, Monterrey, were focused on one idea, and they were really convinced that they were going to go through with Turco Mohamed. I think with America there was a sort of a glitch, that happened during the whole Liguilla. It was almost, the forwards were inconsistent. Peralta, Quintero, and Benedetto. They didn't prove to be top caliber players in the big moment. And it was the total opposite for Monterrey. Funes Mori stepped up, Pavon stepped up, Cardona, and the Sanchez. Sanchez was just unbelievable. It doesn't get better than that when you see Sanchez score those goals.
You named those four players right there. I mean, that's the nice thing about Rayados for them, is that they have all those different attacking options. Even if one isn't at his best game, like all those guys, they're world class. They're excellent. They're fantastic players. And someone like Cardona, you wouldn't be surprised. I mean, I feel like he's one of those Liga MX players. It's only a matter of time that he's going to go to Europe. And you mentioned Jonathan Orozco as well, which I definitely agree upon. That I think he's been massive in that for them recently. Maybe he's trying to step up after not being recognized and being the final 23 for the Copa America roster. Maybe that's where he's trying to send a message. But yeah, no, I think it's really nice. And even though, I mean, we're going to probably talk about this later, even without Carlos Sanchez, whether he goes over to Uruguay to start training early or whether he stays with Rayados, I feel like there's just so much firepower on that team. I feel like they could still win the title without him.
we'll be talking a little bit about what the whole dramatic of the Carlos Sanchez, especially for the final and kind of on our preview. But I can't get over the fact with the golazos. I mean, just scoring. I mean, you see these plays, or especially some free kicks. Naib, does this surprise you, the caliber of goals that you were seeing towards the end? Though in all of it, I mean, almost all of the semifinal goals were amazing.
Those goals from America too. Those from America.
Yeah, and that's what I'm saying. Even the goals for America, where it's you didn't even think that was gonna happen. There's no way he's gonna score again. Bam. It's like that. This is actually happening. Aside from that León rebote and autogol, but does this surprise you, the caliber of goals that we're seeing at this stage?
No, I think we saw. I think overall the league has advanced. I think in the last 2 years, and I think teams are bringing better players from South America and even Europe. Because when you see Rayados, Gargano came from Napoli. Even though he's Uruguayan, but he came from Napoli. Funes Mori was in Benfica. They have some talent there. And over there with Elias Hernandez in León, I think Elias Hernandez has been one of the most interesting Mexican footballers in the last season. And one could say that he should have been in the list, but Osorio likes Aquino and Jürgen Damm. That's his opinion. And hopefully those two work. But Elias Hernandez is up there. And also, for example, with Pachuca, Jonathan Urreta Vizcaya, the Uruguayan also, has scored some phenomenal goals in Liga. So I think it says a lot about the league, about the quality of players. I think in the last 2 years that has transformed immensely, especially when you look at those top teams that are always fighting for the title.
Most definitely. That goal, I mean, man, that goal from Elias Hernandez. That was probably that was by far one of the most beautiful goals I've seen in a long time. Like I
didn't know it was gonna go in.
I have no emotional interest in León, but that was amazing. That was fantastic to see. That was.
He kicked that ball. It looked like how it bounces, and if you play soccer, just right when it bounces, you just want that bounce so it can make that effect. And he grabbed that there was a bounce. I'm like, he's gonna kick it, but he didn't kick it when it was bouncing. He actually kept going forward. And then obviously the impulse of his leg and just how it crossed. I didn't know it went in. It hit the post. It come in. I'm like, is it in? Is it not? Should I celebrate? What's going on? And then it finally went back in. But definitely a golazo. I think we just saw Tom come in and out, if I'm not going crazy. And I hope
I saw someone. Maybe he heard our conversation, was just not
goal,
interested in it.
Elias Hernandez's goal looked like a FIFA goal.
That's exactly.
It was a perfect bounce off the post and everything.
Yeah, no, that definitely did. It definitely did. But I think Tom is there. He is, Mr. Tom. Can you hear us?
Yeah, all good. Sorry about that. I had to write up the old owners meeting thing, and it wasn't an easy one.
Kind of looks like you're actually developing photos in that dark room.
Yeah, you don't want to know, Cesar. You don't want to know.
He's beyond the wall. Tom, if we can get. We talked just a little bit about reactions in obviously the final, without mentioning the penal, because we're going to have a whole section on the Nora penal and Sierra or whatever. But overall, your take on especially America Rayados semifinal.
No, yeah, actually, I couldn't watch it live because I was at a wedding. But I mean, I was getting updates and I was thinking I'm missing the best game of the season here because all the goals kept coming in, and I was getting more and more annoyed that I wasn't watching it live. But yeah, I mean, you look at the fans and the way they celebrated after, and you look at the stadium, you look at the quality of players on display, the emotion involved in that game, and you think, what a great advert for the game in Mexico. I mean, I think that's what it's absolutely all about. Two teams absolutely stacked with talent. Like I said, proper nice stadium, and the fans going absolutely crazy. So. Yeah, I mean, it's what it's all about, and honestly, there's not too much difference between Monterrey and America. I mean, they're two very good teams. Monterrey, I think, have deserved it just because the regular season they were absolutely amazing. I think they've dominated this Clausura as much as a team can do in a kind of playoff situation. I mean, that first leg against Tigres, and then, coming from behind against such a strong America team, and to do it in that kind of style. I mean, yeah, fair play to Monterrey for what they've achieved.
Tom, Turco Mohamed said something before the game, said that we already played the hardest team in the Liga, which was Tigres. Kind of sparked some some drama there with Turco saying that. Was Tigres a better opponent aside from America?
I don't think there's much in it. I'd probably say just about, yeah. I'd say he's just about right, but I don't think he did it because necessarily he absolutely thinks that. I think he did it because he's got a real beef with America because of what happened after he won the title and stuff.
Mm-hmm.
So he's just completely not happy with the way America run things. So he thought, right, I'm going to have a go at him now. But tell you what, if you come out with those kind of words, you better be able to back it up. And to be fair, they did. I mean, that was an amazing comeback in that second half.
And he backed it up. He backed it up since the loss over here at Azteca. Turco Mohamed assured the press that they were going to go through with so much confidence. And I think, the result was something that he had dreamt, and it became true. And another thing about the Tigres being dangerous, the thing that made Tigres dangerous was the fact that it was the defending champion, and it came in as 8th. And, there's always this dilemma that, the 8th place is going to beat the 1st place, and it's an added pressure. And I think that's why that series, and also, the arch enemies, they hate each other. Mm-hmm. So it was a tough one to start off the Liguilla for Monterrey.
And you said after what Rayados have gone through, in that rivalry series, they had to get past them. They had to get past America, which, that arguably kind of felt like a final too. Like Tom, I didn't have a chance to watch most of the game. I had was busy that day as well. But just watching the highlights, you could see the intensity. You'd feel like after all of that, not saying that Pachuca aren't at the same level, but after all that, you feel like as if the title is almost theirs. It's within reach. I know there's a lot of positives to talk about for Pachuca, but. It's in there. They finished in second place as well, but you feel like Rayados, even without Carlos Sanchez, possibly they're within reach of the title.
No, it's a good point. Either of those two games against Tigres or against America could have been the final.
Yeah.
I think I said before. I think I've got Monterrey and Tigres as the two best in America, just behind, and then probably Pachuca just a bit behind that. So. Yeah, it's not been easy for Monterrey, but fair play to them. That's why they've spent all this money on these quality players. You look at the quality of some of those goals against America, that Carlos Sanchez goal, and you're like, it's not easy goals, are they? Them?
Definitely not. And what we're seeing is, obviously after a great dramatic display of football, not the football is what we're talking about, is once again the refs. The big call. Yes, Johnny Rico is not on the show. And I know a lot of you on the chat were saying, "Where's Johnny?" Is actually trending.
I think we know how he would feel though.
Over the world is trending. Where is Johnny? And he's not on the Mexican Soccer Show today. And obviously, Americanistas are upset. No era penal. And the hashtag all over again. I looked at the play, and I'll be honest with you. When I saw it live, I could see yes, it's a penal. In the way that his hands are out. And my rule, I remember playing in the days, if you're defending and you have your arms out, you're trying to get either ahead by moving your body. You usually have your body out. I knew what he was trying to do at all costs. It almost seemed like the goalie was behind. He didn't need to do that, but obviously you're there. The referee was in an angle that he was able to see. I saw that. On the other side of the replay, but for me, then when you started slowing it down, you start to see, it does hit el hombro. Then the picture came up. I think we have the picture of the famous hombro, which I call in a question that, an hour after the game, he has some type of problems with his skin if there's still that much. I didn't think it was such a powerful shot that would create in there. If there are any doctors that are watching this, I'd be really surprised if this is real. But anyways, the big picture that's coming out of it. But in all else, I think America could have still won the game. There were still 5 or 6 minutes. I thought that it wasn't the end of the world for Americanistas. I still think Rayados should have deserved it. But again, that controversial play, which could have gone either more, and it sparks the question, do we need technology? And we talked about this, Tom, remember, on our last Mexican Soccer Show, how great it would be that Mexico will bring up this technology. But it's seen that it's needed. I know there's still problems even if with technology, but to you guys, the fans are wanting to hear, for you, was it a penalty or yes or no? On the rules, if it does touch a little bit part of the arm, it becomes the hand. So if you're strictly by the rules, I think it is called up and out, then it was the right call. I haven't seen any. I follow some of the referees, some past referees from Mexico. None of them are saying that the referee made a mistake, especially at the leave of play. But let's get your consensus on you guys, and we'll go by Cesar to you. Was it a penal?
Yeah.
Yes or no?
I mean, let me just say, I think it was an extremely tough decision by the referee. It looks like it could have been a hit right there in the chest, maybe not so much in the shoulder. Looks like it could have been a gray area. I think for me, though, it looked deliberate. He leaned into it. And I think because that deliberate almost intent, I think it was a penal, and I think it did hit the arm. I mean, after watching the replay a few times. That being said, I can understand why America fans would also be, furious about the decision. Because it's a tough call by the referee. It's where it's easy for us to see the replay over and over and over again and make that decision, but that referee, he has to be making that decision within a matter of moments. But after looking at it multiple times, after looking at the intent, I guess I should say, the intent moving towards the ball, and I think after it seemed like it hit the shoulder, I would say it was a penalty.
All right, Naive and Tom.
Well, you want to go, Tom, first, or do I?
No, you go.
Okay. No, well, I mean, I think here with the decision, it was difficult to make, and like Cesar said, the intention, what caused the controversy. I mean, I think if he would have dove with his head, then it would have. It's because he stretched his arm out so much that made it look like it was a hand. But here, this is the problem with America. They lost their minds at that instant.
Mm-hmm.
And if they had kept their cool, Goltz and Osvaldito Martinez would have stayed in the pitch. And America still had that potential to score that goal that would have taken them to the final. So, here it's that whole debate with Ambriz. Does Ambriz really know how to control these players? Calenturas, how we say in Spanish. I do understand that the call is really tricky, and it could have gone either way. Mm-hmm. But here is where America sort of lost the match, and it's the second time it happened in the second leg of the semifinal that America finished with 9 players on the pitch. It happened against Pumas in the 2015 Clausura. Apertura, digo.
Definitely, yeah. I mean,
yeah.
Go ahead, Tom.
No, yeah, just everything that Naive said there, I think that's right. I mean, you're going to get these decisions 50-50. You can go on and on about them, but the referees are humans as well, you know what I mean? And it doesn't matter how much. Obviously, the more training you get in anything, you're going to be better, but at the end of the day, they're humans, and you see that at the pace of it, that play happened, and it's like, you've got to make a decision. And the fact that we're debating it now, the fact that people on all the TV shows in Mexico have been debating it, and there's still no absolute firm conclusion, basically tells you that it's not easy.
Yeah,
but America is still in that game at that point. I mean, you get decisions for you, you get them against you. You have to be able to deal with it, and obviously, like Naive said, there they did it again.
Yeah, you know what, and it comes down to, you're crying about the penalty kick. Sure, it would have given you if it wasn't part of it. And yes, it's the outcome of the game, but there were some penalties that I know. I think Paulo Aguilar, the 4th minute early, I saw a clear penalty there that wasn't called. It just, I think everyone forgets about those those early calls that could have ended up in what would have, should have. El hubiera no existe. We get it. What I did like is I like to praise Nacho Ambriz, who didn't talk about it, and afterwards did not talk about it in the press. Didn't say I want to fault didn't go the Piojo route. Didn't go the La Volpe route. That we would see these refs and here and there the players tweeting that picture, which at the same time the game is over. It wasn't because of that penal. And it happens to everybody. It feels like like Americanista and maybe even Chivas, because obviously there are more fans and they're supposedly more passionate, which I don't believe. It amplifies, it amplifies why the refs are against it. But I can go back to Leon, a clear penal. I'm sorry, that was a clear penal on my part.
Yeah, that one was actually pretty. That one was a clear one. Yeah.
And it would have given us the win, because that would have been 2 goals that Pachuca was going to win.
Yeah, but even that one, I thought it was actually a penalty, but I think I was watching Fox. Well, the game was on Fox, and all of them said that it wasn't a penalty.
Yeah.
all the pundits were like, that wasn't a penalty. And I was like, for me, he's taking a shot at the ball. He's right in front of goal, and was it Murillo?
Yeah.
Murillo's leg impeded his shot, and it's
I
like,
think that's the main point. Yeah, he did impede the shot. I think that's the main.
And they're saying that he kicked him. Well, when you're about to wind up to kick and someone's in front of you, of course you're gonna kick him. But I and I said I was upset. I'll give you that. I was like, how was not? But then I go back and go, we could have scored more at home. Right? We could have done more. We were in the situation. It didn't matter that Pachuca scored another. I'm like, who cares? They can. I was kind of saying, Yarbo, get in there in the last 5 minutes. They score another goal. It doesn't matter. We need to score one anyways. And I was kind of pushing. I'm like, why aren't we being so forward? Who cares if Pachuca scores one? But
real quick about the refs. We saw Tom Cesar. I think that in Mexico it would be nice if there were referees like in the Europa League, in the Champions League, how they're referees right besides the goal. Mm-hmm. Because I think if there were referees on that part, maybe the penalty against America wouldn't have been a penalty. If there was a ref right there close to the play. But it's just a thought.
Yeah, and I think just when talking about technology too, like what technology we could bring in, that kind of opens a can of worms. Like that's a podcast in itself right there. I think. I like the human element of the refs of those refs making those decisions. It makes it more dramatic. It makes it more exciting. I'm still a supporter of goal line technology. That'd be kind of nice to see in the league. And like Naib said, maybe having those refs on the side. But yeah, I mean that's just the nature of the sport. So some of those days you'll get those calls. Some of those days you won't.
Everyone's worried about stopping the flow of the game. Do you know how many minutes are wasted after one of those calls? Like look at how many minutes were wasted when there's a huge call that the players they don't want to play anymore. 2-3 minutes of going back. Have a booth, have somebody say this is what it's saying from the booth upstairs. Get mad at the replay of how it is, and and it just goes back to it. I really think that we need that, and hopefully the FIFA president starts, but we'll see where that's at. But yeah, going back to Nacho Ambriz saying they didn't blame the refs. A great final overall. I think it's deserved. Rayados, what they've done. You said it, Tom. Going forward, the best team, number one team. We're seeing a 1 versus 2 coming in. On the other side, really quick, Pachuca, as the favorites, going with the talent. Chucky Lozano and another level. Just amazing what this kid is doing, and it's kind of unbelievable. Of what he had. Leon had no answer in the first game. A 1-1, and then obviously in Pachuca that 2-1 result. But give it up for Leon fighting, not losing their cool, even going into the last minutes, able to snatch another goal. It's exciting. I like the fact that Leon was able to score 1, Pachuca would score 2. But on the other side, if they would have been 1-1, you see that leader goes ahead. I know that it's tough, but overall, a great semifinal on that game. A lot of people were kind of like, Leon Pachuca, we're going to see the multipropiedad and all of that. But sad season for Leon. We'll see where Tena takes them next year. But I'm glad Pachuca is there. I think they deserve it also. It's going to be an exciting final with a lot of talented players. But to you guys, a 1 and a 2 finally. We haven't seen that in a very long time. The best 2 teams are actually going to hit it out with Liga MX. Let's talk about, unless we have any other thoughts on Pachuca and the talented youngsters, Leon, with what happened in the semifinal, guys.
Real quick, I think with Pachuca, what we should emphasize is the long-term project. This is a long-term project in short seasons, which is, I don't think there's a club in Mexico that does it as well as Pachuca. The fact that they produce Gutierrez, Pizarro, and Chucky and have them at this level, and this trio is competing against the Funes Moris, the Pavons, and the Cardonas. We don't know if Cardona's gonna play. We don't know if Carlos Sanchez is gonna play. But Pachuca will have the advantage if Carlos Sanchez, Cardona miss out, because the attacking flair for Monterrey will dwindle, while the attacking flair for Pachuca will stay strong still.
Let's go into that. I mean, if you haven't followed the social media, everyone's been talking about the last 2 hours about Carlos Sanchez and not being able to play in the final because he has to go with Uruguay and demanding that. I think you have to be 5 days before your game is a strictly FIFA rule, and he's already.
I think it's 14 days ahead of a major tournament.
Really?
14, yeah.
I was looking at the rules, and it depends on the tournament. It depends if it's like a friendly or a qualifying game. Each event has a different like kind of stipulation, and I'm pretty sure that it's 14 days before the Copa America.
That would have been last week.
I don't know.
So should the fault be on the Liga MX for the scheduling then? If they should have known that it should have been 14 days.
Well,
But the Copa America was announced late.
It was announced in December, so the dates were already set. So it's just a real mess up. But yeah, I mean,
and the controversy is that you have the Champions League, Godin, who is already there, who's going to play, who will be there,
and Jose Maria Jimenez. There are two Uruguayans in the final.
Uruguayans that are there. So I mean, if the players wanting to stay, I also think if the players wanting to stay, could Carlos Sanchez do more? I think this is where people are faulting the player of seeing that he could stay and he's not wanting to do it. But I don't know who to fault. I'll be honest. Liga MX, I know obviously has bad scheduling sometimes, and the FMF, but at the same time, if there is that rule and they've known.
But I don't understand why they're debating this now. Why didn't they sort this out like last week in case this was going to happen?
Or maybe
because
they
it's
didn't
not
want to
just
get it out.
Carlos Sanchez. I mean, but I mean internally between them and the federation. I mean, why weren't they talking to the Uruguayan Federation saying what's going on here? Maybe they did, and the Uruguayan Federation just said no.
I think something has to do with the Luis Suarez injury yesterday in the Copa del Rey and the influence that Carlos Sanchez has in the Uruguayan team. Now, I think Carlos Sanchez is one of the key players for Uruguay, and if they lose Carlos Sanchez and also Luis Suarez, their options to qualify are murky. I think you take two key players away. It's like Chicharito and Guardado get injured, for example.
But it wasn't Carlos Sanchez. I mean, if he would leave on Sunday, he's still fine to make it. Uruguay doesn't play until the following Sunday. And they're playing in the U.S., so it's not like he's got to go all the way to Uruguay. He's on a plane to Uruguay, is what we're saying.
He's on a plane to Uruguay now.
So you're going to go to play Uruguay and then go Uruguay to the U.S., skip that, and go directly to the U.S. and find them, which is what many of the players that are still playing at that, are going to be doing. And the first game is not until Sunday anyways. You still have a week. It's not like the game he's going to miss any games. He'll still be able to play. I don't know.
I'm sure that's what.
It is a strange one.
So I'm sure that's what FMF. Yeah, I would say I'm sure that's what FMF is saying right now. But I mean, I'm sure they want him in camp as well. I don't know if they're able to bring him over. They want him in camp. I mean, it's one thing to have a player show up, a day or two before a game, or just right before.
Well, you have the other players in other leagues, and yes, it's a Champions League that can stay. So the difference is, I don't know. I think it's gonna. What's your call, guys? Is he going to go? Is he going to play? I think he's going to play.
I think he's waiting in the airport now, so he's not gone, and I think his flight was a bit before.
That really sucks for him.
Tweeted a photo of him in here.
His wife retweeted something out that said, it's not necessarily always about football. There's also family involved. Love it when they make it more dramatic.
I bet she's angry, man.
Everyone keeps talking about. I don't know.
Yeah. I thought we were going to have
at the end of
man.
It's not just.
If it's family, okay, say, but whatever. But I don't know. I'm a little bit.
But it's not just Sanchez either.
Yeah.
I mean, it's Walter Iov. He's just got the permission from Ecuador.
Yeah.
And Monterrey have just tweeted out like, "Thank you to the Ecuadorian Federation."
But, Monterrey like praising Ecuador like crazy. Thank you. You're awesome.
But then you got the Colombians, and Cardona's there. You got Medina, Murillo.
Sanchez, Cardona, and not in Monterrey. I'm sorry, you're destroying. I mean, those are crap.
No. This is the thing, the wider issue. Basically, we don't know what's going on in terms of what the debate is. Does the fact that Uruguay are in the same group of Mexico have anything to do with it? Probably not, but you never know, do you? And then the other thing is...
okay, I didn't see it in the Uruguayan point of view.
For the Liga MX, it's awful. I mean, this is your moment. This is your big final, the championship game, and you can argue Carlos Sanchez has been the best player all season. Like he's been an absolute sensation, and you really capped it off with that goal against America. And you think for him not to be in the final, it's like you've played like what 20 games or something, 21 games to get to where they're at now. And these last two games are going to where you decide if you're the champion or not. And it's like for him to not be able to play, and then imagine if Cardona can't play.
Yeah.
it really don't look good for the league. I mean, I don't know. I don't want to criticize the league and say because I don't know what's gone on behind the scenes, but I don't know. I mean, could they have done anything? I mean, it's really not going to look good.
So it's a conspiracy. Mexico wants to keep.
No, it's not.
Mexico wants to keep, Sanchez because they're gonna play Uruguay, and if they keep him, that means they're not gonna rid of him. Now I'm seeing it. Now I'm seeing why. It's not even about Monterrey, bro. It's about the Mexican national team getting a even more advantage. And Luis Suarez not gonna be there, and Carlos Sanchez is gonna stay. Okay, as an Uruguayo fans, Uruguay fans.
And looking at from the Pachuca perspective. Stefan Medina, not having Stefan Medina and Oscar Murillo is a tough blow as well, because I think Murillo has been Omar Gonzalez and Murillo are a great center back duo, but Murillo brings another level. I think Murillo is a center back that could easily be playing in Europe, because of his qualities with the ball, and also his aerial game and the toughness. I mean, he's really physical, and I think. I don't know how that's going to work, because I think it was Hugo Rodriguez or Mosquera. It's not the same with Mosquera or Rodriguez accompanying Omar Gonzalez.
Mosquera with 10 minutes all season.
Yeah, just the whole event around the final. I mean, it's what everyone wants to see. We want to see how's Murillo and Omar Gonzalez, who have been revelations this season. I mean,
one of the best defensive duos.
Yeah, I mean, the big reason why Pachuca has improved that extra 10% compared to the last couple of seasons has been because they've found some kind of defensive stability. And then you look at Carlos Sanchez and Cardona, you think those are two of the very best players in the league. I mean, right up there. And you think you want to see them in a final. You want to see those kind of matchups. And I don't know. I think I'm reading a few tweets here that's saying that it's probably Sanchez is gonna play. And you feel if Sanchez is gonna play, then the Colombians will also let their players play as well. Yeah, hopefully it's like that, and this is just a kind of, something that's just caught our attention.
I think he's gonna play.
Yeah. I mean, now I'm just thinking about the Mexican national. I mean, even if those Uruguayans, just because that's exactly where my head's going. But even if those Uruguayan options aren't there, and up top, I feel like my biggest worries are still Godin and what's his face? I can't believe I forgot his name. And Jimenez. I feel like those are the guys who are going to give us our biggest trouble. We're not
not as big trouble as Carlos Sanchez.
I feel it's going to be difficult to get past them.
Yeah, I think Carlos Sanchez is up there. I mean, that guy, what he did to America in the series was it was dirty. It was dirty. I think that's the word. I mean, the goals, but the movement in the midfield. I mean, it's going to be, to see Carlos Sanchez go against Herrera and Guardado in the midfield is going to be a spectacle. I mean, it doesn't get better than that.
And Rafa Marquez, if he starts in the middle.
Oh, he will. It'll be definitely interesting. Let's talk about the final. A little preview of the final. Pachuca, and it's kind of like we can't really give you a preview because Carlos Sanchez, Cardona, those players are going to be gone. It's going to be like a diluted final of the superstars that are going. But let's say for the record, just so everybody's there. He doesn't get out. I think Sanchez is going to be there. I really do. I think he ultimately will be there. But full teams ahead. How are we seeing this? A great finale, a 1 versus a 2. An expected final, the best of the best, and they already released the times. It looks like Thursday, 6:30 Pacific, and then on Sunday. So you get that extra. We're gonna have a lot of football in the next 4 days. That comes Wednesday with the friendly, with the first leg, then the Champions League final.
Libertadores tomorrow.
Libertadores. I mean, there's a lot. Get ready that we're gonna be talking about, but. Let's talk a little bit of the final. Tom, how are you seeing? And if everybody's there, is Monterrey still the final? It's still your team. I know you picked them to win it all.
Yeah, that's the big if, isn't it? Hopefully, they're all the players are there, and I think.
And if not, could they do it?
If not, I mean, I don't know. I think if not, then Pachuca's got a better chance because Carlos Sanchez is massive. But no, I think Monterrey, if everyone's there, I think they're the favourite. I don't think there's any doubt about that. Obviously, it's over 180 minutes. Anything can happen. But I mean, I think Monterrey have ticked all the boxes this season. I mean, they've scored a lot of goals. They've managed to come past two very good teams like we spoke about before, and at the end of the day they're finishing in their stadium. So it's an intense atmosphere up there, and you have to back them even if they're kind of a goal behind against Pachuca after the game in the Estadio Hidalgo on Thursday. You'd back Monterrey to come from behind. So yeah, I've got Monterrey winning it. I think there'll be a few goals. There usually is in the finals, isn't there? But yeah, I've got Monterrey. I just think they've been the best team this season. I mean,
yeah, I saw obviously at Pachuca that Leon wasn't playing well, wasn't at its best at all. I mean, we had players. Luis Montes it looked like he went out the night before because every pass he couldn't even get it to the right person. Gallito Vasquez was out of the game. Even Boselli was not. I mean, it looked like Leon was at half the speed of Pachuca, and they were still able to almost win the game. On a last goal there. If it wasn't for Conejo, once again, I cannot believe we're still mentioning Conejo.
I think that's definitely something we should talk about, like for the final. Like, I mean, I know we want to talk about. I know we want to talk about like the Mexico's like youngsters. Like we want to talk about like Chucky. We want to talk about Gutierrez. We want to talk Pizarro. But in this series against Rayados, you're gonna have to focus on those players. You're gonna on not only just Conejo Perez, but the defensive center back duo of Murillo and Gonzalez, and see if they can withstand the pressure from the Rayados are going to put upon them.
How old is Pizarro and Chucky?
12, 11?
20, 21,
22 and 20. Pizarro's 22 and Lozano's 20.
Like half of
Gutierrez is 20 and he's the captain.
Yeah.
So half of Cornejo is a Chucky Lozano. It's like we're looking at that. But going back to the final and previewing it, I just saw a bad Leon, and I'm telling you, almost beat up Pachuca, where I just don't see in every level. Yes, you have your Chucky Lozanos. Yes, you have a Conejo, but again, Conejo is being the highlight of the man of the match is telling you already something on that, and especially with the caliber that Monterrey has. I think Monterrey takes this. I think it's going to be exciting, with the speed that Pachuca has, especially on counters, and will be interesting to see if Efrain Juarez is going to make his usual Efrain mistakes. But for me, again, Monterrey, I think takes it.
I think there the one of the aspects of that game is going to be the duels on the wing, because Rayados, I think if there's a weak point that Rayados have is fullbacks. Mohamed always switches around the fullbacks. Sometimes he goes with Ayoví, sometimes he goes with Edgar Castillo on the left. Over there on the right, I think he's going to keep Iramier, actually, because he gets more defensive solidness than Efrain Juarez. Efrain Juarez started off well this season, but then went down, really down. So I don't think he'll play in the final. And I think that then the wings, that's where Pachuca is dangerous, with Chucky on the left and Urreta Vizcaya on the right. But the thing with Pachuca is that they got to finish. If they have opportunities against Monterrey, they got to put them in. If they don't put them in, Rayados is going to win this easily.
I mean, it seemed like, I know that's kind of Pachuca a little bit, and it was beautiful to see, but it was almost as if they're playing with the ball a little too much in the last game. I don't know if you guys felt that way at all, but I felt like I feel like they weren't really taking advantage of their opportunities too much against Leon.
I'm not sure if I don't know. After they scored. I'm getting confused with all the games here, but I don't know if it was like
Tom is still in wedding mode.
I don't know if they were kind of just trying to protect themselves. You know what I mean? After they scored, you know what I mean? They were trying to like just control the possession a bit, but they did drop. As soon as they scored the goal, they kind of just all dropped back, and I felt, I don't know. It's going to be really interesting to see how Diego Alonso plays against Monterrey, because. I don't know. I mean, what do you do? You're at home in that first leg. It's a really difficult one because against Leon in the first leg, he dropped Pizarro, who he said had a kind of little muscle injury, and he put in Victor Guzman, who's obviously more defensive, and they played with almost 3 contenciones in that first leg against Leon to really try and shore up the midfield. I can't believe that Pizarro's not going to start because I thought he played really well last night on the Sunday, but. Yeah. I mean, what's he going to do? I just think Pachuca's best chance is to keep it tight, even though that goes against kind of everything that Alonso and the club is about, if you know what I mean. I just feel you have to like kind of really protect that back four. I mean, I know the back four's been good and Conejo's been good, but I don't know if they go flying forward and leave all the holes behind for like those what did Naive call them, the Fantastic Four, to exploit, then I think they're in trouble.
Yeah.
In Pizarro, get ready for Pizarro, because I think that guy is definitely also going to be able to drive and be el volante, take the driver's seat, maybe a 10 on the national team for on. I saw some.
Yeah, I think the interesting thing about Pizarro now, the interesting thing for me is he seems to have found his position now.
Mm-hmm.
And
I was going to say, where else are we going to try him out?
4-3-3. Yeah, where else is that?
Let's put him in goalkeeper. Maybe he'll be really good in that as well.
He probably will be. but yeah, I mean, I think he's either that number 10 in a 4-2-3-1 or in a 4-3-3, that kind of more attacking midfielder of the three. You know what I mean? So the right-handed, more attacking midfielder. But I think that's his position now. I think we've seen it almost like Hector Herrera, how he plays for the national team. So yeah, I mean, I think that's been a big thing about Pizarro. That was one of the things I used to worry. I never could sleep at night and stuff. No, but was it?
He played left.
But you know what I mean? It's what is it?
Dreaming about Pizarro.
It's great to be a versatile player, but sometimes you have to define your position as well. Was he a right back? Was he a wing back? Was he a right winger? Defensive midfielder? And I feel like now he's got that a bit more freedom to attack. He's really coming into his own, and I don't know. He seems like he's loving playing there and really enjoying himself now.
Definitely. All right, we keep talking about, obviously, and we're almost time to go. It's sad to say that. Really quick, Chivas TV, get ready. And all that's happening and all that. I'm sure just wanted to throw that out there, how amazing it would be to see, but at the same time.
Dude, Tom, you should have had a more surprised reaction to the news, because then you would have showed up on that promo.
I would have been on.
Yeah, you would have been on if you would have been threw a hat or something.
Tom, you obviously didn't. You couldn't join us because we were talking. We were actually making fun of you that what got in the way of the Mexican soccer show, because you were writing an article, and I'm like, it had to be something breaking news.
Yeah.
Carlos Vela is joining the some kind of staffing with
Atlanta Silverbacks.
Tom, what's going on with the coaches? I mean, with the owners.
With the owners, yeah. Quickly on the Chivas TV. I mean, we don't know the full details yet. For me, it's absolutely fascinating. I love the idea that it's going to be something brand new. I think it's going to be either really, really good or terrible. I don't think there's any middle ground. You know what I mean?
I would be really surprised if Chivas is not on regular television. I mean, I still think they will be. I think it's just another modified type of TV coverage. Kind of a lot more. I think there's no way Chivas is not going to be on TV. I'm sorry. There's so much money involved with Chivas and sponsors that having its own streaming. I think what everyone's looking at streaming, even in the U.S. streaming is horrible still. I mean, there's no way that the 50 to 70% of people that don't have high quality internet in Mexico. That was actually a stat that I was looking for. They're not going to be able to see it. Correctly. I still think Chivas is still going to be on TV somehow. I don't know what the new way of doing it, but I think you're going to be able to tune in Mexico and in your TVs. But wow, we'll see how it goes. I mean, I like the intent. I like the fact they're trying to do something different, and it's interesting. I think the Guardian in an interview was saying that they're not going to obviously get the money from the TV rights, but because they're going to be able to do it on their own, it's going to be their own platform. They'll make up that money in sponsorship that comes straight to the club. So I don't know. It's almost like a guinea pig model, not just for Mexican football, but for world football. I mean, we all know that the way that people are viewing games now is changing so quickly. I mean, all over the world, it's going to the way we see games now compared to in 15, 20 years is going to be completely revolutionized. I mean, that's why certain TV companies are having real problems. Televisa are one that are in a bit of trouble because they've not moved with the times and they don't know what's coming next. But yeah, no, it's going to be interesting. The owners meeting, well, they've approved this 10-8 rule. Yes.
Which basically so each in the matchday squad, the 18-player matchday squad. 10 players are either foreigner, they can be foreigners or naturalized Mexicans. So, yeah, I don't know. I mean, I'm still kind of processing it on me.
Yeah, because
But-
I was trying to figure that out as well. So eight of the players have to be Mexican born, correct?
With a Mexican birth certificate.
Yeah, birth certificate. But there is an amendment that he didn't mention in the press conference that I've just found here, specifically relating to Mexican Americans. And it says that, I mean, this is also a big deal, but it says with dual nationality Mexican Americans, they can be included in the 8 kind of Mexican players if, when they register with their FMF for the first time, before the 19th birthday. So basically, if you look at the rules regarding FIFA now, the Article 19 and stuff like that, apparently it looks like a Mexican American couldn't move to Mexico from the United States until they're 18. I can imagine a lot of players when they hit 18, they're going to come to Mexico, register, and then kind of make sure they do it before the 19th birthday. But the other interesting thing about this is, we've seen a regular flow recently of players from MLS to the Liga MX. Villafaña is an example. Who else?
Omar Gonzalez.
Omar Gonzalez. Yeah, those are the most 2 high profile. Now, under this new law, this new rule, they would count as a foreigner, even though they're Mexican citizens. Which, I don't know. I mean, I have no idea about the legality of this. I have no idea because
That's just
constitutionally.
It's going to go in effect for next season? Or is this a talk? Is this something that we're happening?
Yeah, next
season.
Next season
Wow.
is coming in.
We're going to have a
So,
full 10-8 show coming up soon, so we can really go into the legalities and talk on that.
So, for example, America right now has 13 extranjeros, and it includes Ventura Alvarado, for example, I think.
Yeah.
yeah, no, it's...
I don't know. I mean, to be honest, I'm still really confused about the situation. I probably should be. I probably should be more on top of this. I got to do a lot more research, to be honest. Like, I don't know. It's confused for me. And I can only imagine how confusing it is for other fans out there trying to figure out this situation, especially with those regarding Mexican Americans. And I mean, whether like Tom said, depending on their age, whether they would be counted, as an extranjero or not.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know. It's weird. I mean, there's a lot of criticism straight away. Go on, Naib, sorry.
I mean, the criticism comes from Jorge Vergara and the Pachuca owners, Jesus Martinez, who are technically the 2 teams that have been producing the most Mexican footballers in the last 2 years.
Interesting already on the chats, people are saying, about it. Liga MX will be like EPL with only 1 or 2 nationalists on the field. No need for playing Copa Libertadores when we have half of South America playing in our teams.
Yeah, no, I think it's something that's gonna rumble on, and there might even be legal challenges because I assume the Liga MX is absolutely checked with top lawyers and they know exactly the rules. But I know, for example, in the States, you imagine a sports league who wanted to differentiate between an American born in the country and an American who's gained citizenship. I mean, in the eyes of the law, and I think morally as well, they should be the same. I mean, I know this is exaggerated, but the example that I'd give is like, say a refugee comes to Mexico now from war-torn country, age 3 years old. Mexico takes them in. They grow up in Mexico and all that. They're actually naturalized, so they'd actually be excluded from this rule. So they're actually.
What are they trying to gain, Tom?
I mean,
like what?
Well, they're trying to basically the argument from the Liga MX from Bonilla. There was a quote from him today, and he said, "Right now, each team can have 18 non-Mexican players or non-Mexican born players in the squad, because you can have as many naturalized players as you want right now." So what he's saying with this rule is there's going to be a maximum of 10 now. He's not saying that every club has to do it, but there's going to be a maximum of 10. So basically it's trying to just cap that limit and say, that's it. I mean, you have to have your 8 Mexicans. Apart from that, you can do what you want. But I don't know. I just think it's a middle ground one. If you want to protect Mexican players, then put something stringent in. You know what I mean? Put something properly. And if you want to really grow the league, then just open it. Just open it. I mean, I'm actually reading a book, Das Reboot, about the German national team and how they kind of developed and became that world power again after a little period before Klinsmann where they weren't they weren't doing it. And it's actually fascinating that the German clubs themselves came to the conclusion that investing in the youth system and investing in their own German players was by far a better model financially as well than going out and buying loads of foreign players. I mean, and I think there's a stat, I think it's 51%, I'm just making up, but there's a high percentage of players in the Bundesliga going back a couple of years weren't only just German, but they were actually from the youth team of the specific club. So Dortmund, for example, 50% of their players weren't just German, but they were actually from Dortmund's youth system. So you create this identity surrounding the club. And I mean, I don't know. Obviously, that's an ideal world, and Mexico isn't Germany, and Germany it didn't just come about without any growing pains. I mean, but I don't know. I mean, that's the other option. I'd probably be in favour of just completely opening it up and being like, if you're a Mexican club like Chivas or Pachuca and really going to focus, then do it with Mexican players. I mean, let Mexican players stand up for themselves. But it's obviously difficult in Mexico because you've got the influence of promoters, you've got the influence of agents who are very tightly linked to the clubs. And if they want to make the money, the way they make the money isn't by youth teams. They make the money by bringing in players and transferring players and making sure the kind of transfer cycle is ticking along. So it's not easy.
There it is. And rant.
I'm still reading the YouTube comments, and I'm just worried, just like everyone else, thinking that if I was to join the league, I would be next to Donketo. That's all I'm thinking about. Like, oh, dude, my dad's from Guadalajara. It's cool, man.
You thought
I'm from LA. That's kind of like Mexico. What, guys? Come on. Like, why look at Mikey's?
What Tom just explained about that book by Rafael Honigstein, I think that's his name, writes for The Guardian. What Tom just said, I think that's the model that Mexico needs to do if it one day aspires to win the World Cup. I asked the same question to Pavel Pardo a couple of months ago about how Germany plans all of its youth systems. And we're not just talking about Dortmund, we're talking about Mainz, Wolfsburg, Mönchengladbach, Bayern Munich, Bayer Leverkusen, all of these clubs that are competing at the top level in the Champions League. And they're going far. Wolfsburg went all the way to the quarterfinals. And, or was it the semis? I'm confused right there. But it was far. It was far. This is the model. The model that Mexico decided to do today or follow today is the wrong one. And it's not going to take Mexico anywhere, especially when you think that this is a short season deal. We're not talking about a long season, it's a short season. You got to get the results right away. So what do? You put in the foreigners, you put in the naturalizados who are quote-unquote experienced. So it's bad for the progress of the Mexican national teams.
Yeah, I mean, it's no surprise that we always want that gratification right now. Everyone loves these Liguilla formats. Ultimately, it calls for amazing football. We get it. They want it then as short-term goals and not looking at long-term, especially what's going to generate more money. It's not really a surprise, but we got to keep going. Otherwise, we're already way over. We got still some other stuff to talk about. Big on the news, we kind of mentioned it already. Luis Suarez is not going to be playing in the Mexico game. Obviously, you never want to wish a player get hurt at all, but it does benefit Mexico having those types of strikers. Libertadores this week. Right, in what's happened with Mexican football. We have also friendlies that it's not going to be a full squad, especially with some of the players that are not going to be there. I think even some of the European players that are not going to be there on the very first game. And then obviously the second game that's happening in San Diego. So lots and lots also to cover. What else, guys? Raúl Jiménez.
Another title for him.
Yeah,
he was a late sub and he scored off a penalty, and they won the Portuguese. I always get the Taca de Liga and the Taca de Portugal. I think it was the Taca de Liga. So the Portuguese was one of those titles for Portugal. I'm pretty sure it was the
Copa del Rey, right?
It was a Taca de Liga. because Porto, I think, was taking part in the Talk of the Portugal. But anywho, yeah, Jimenez came in, scored off a penalty, and that's his second title for him this season. It's pretty impressive what he's done. And he's been a crucial player in the past couple months.
I've not seen Raúl Jiménez miss a penalty kick. I don't think I've.
He's good.
I think great penalty kick. Hector Herrera misses a penalty kick.
Yeah.
Right.
And penalties. Yeah.
Penalties could have won also a league.
The other Portuguese league, Portuguese cup title that I keep forgetting about.
Is that like a Copa MX number 2? Then there's a Copa del Rey type. Why don't we have a Copa del Presidente? Like EP. Enrique
Copa
Peña
de
Nieto.
Pancho Villa or something, you know? Copa de Pancho Villa.
Copa de Pancho Villa.
Copa de Porfirio Díaz. Copa de Morelos. Okay, guys. Well, it was a great show. Tom is still upset at what's happening with the 10A rule. I can see it in his head. I mean, he's just what's happening. But I definitely want to say hi to everyone that's on the chats. Man, they're going off about this 8 rule. Also, Mr. Jason Markwood is on there, and lots of talking about. Great discussion. We're gonna have more of the Mexican soccer show during the week. We'll have another quick show either before the 2 games or before the final. So stay tuned. Get these guys also and get their thoughts and what we'll be talking about. What else, guys? Before we close, that's all I had on my piece of paper. My notes.
Let's do. I mean, I guess this is our only show before the friendly against Paraguay. Against the friendly against Paraguay. So
yeah.
Let's see how that goes.
Paraguay's already training. I think in Miami. Our friend Mr. Gabriel Gabor from Some tweeted out that they're already there. Some of the players are already with the Mexican team. If go back to I think some of my tweets, I think I tweeted out the names and they're already there. But what do you expect? I'm not even ready for this Mexican game yet. I feel like I haven't even looked at it.
I think Tom mentioned this last week, but there's gonna be tests on goal once again. I think Ochoa is coming at a great form from Malaga. And Osorio will want to see Ochoa on the pitch, maybe against Paraguay and Atlanta, because Talavera is his favorite. I think that's unquestionable. Yeah. But what does Guillermo Ochoa have to offer? I mean, will Ochoa do the same thing he did in 2014? That all of a sudden he's the starter when we thought it was going to be Corona. I think that's going to be the debate flowing in the next days.
Once again. Ochoa in the drama of who's going to be. Speaking of goalkeepers, you ready for this? Conejo to the Olympics.
Conejo to the Olympics? Guys. It was just send Jonathan Orozco.
No. Conejo to the Olympics, finishes, gets a gold medal. A third, how old he is, brings the leadership. He's doing amazing. He comes out great. I mean, mostly our pelotazos from Sub-23 players anyways that we get scored on, and he's amazing coming out. There it is. I said it. First, but I'll be interested in seeing in this Paraguay game. Yes, I like that. I think Rafa Marquez and Ochoa are going to be starting against Uruguay. Dun, dun, dun.
I mean, I hope I see Rafa Marquez this weekend. Not because I want to see him in the starting 11, but I just want to see what he can do if he still has the capabilities to be in the starting 11. I just want to see how he could do that midfield, because that seems like the most obvious role is that the defensive midfield position.
I think he's going to be in that. I think he's going to be in the back. Juan Carlos Osorio is going to have him next to Moreno. Watch.
Really?
Yeah, I think he's going to go back, and I think it's wrong. I'm a little. Before I say that, I'm a little nervous about this cup. With JCO finally getting some competition and see how he in his own, because some of the people that he's chose, in the past in his experiments have worked because we have less, but it'll be interesting to see. But we'll go into another show, pre-show of the Copa America coming up. It's already here. I mean, in less than 2 weeks, we have our first game here in Phoenix for some of you guys that are traveling down, and it should be interesting. So we'll definitely have a cup preview next week, and there's going to be lots of topics. We'll continue this week. Almost every day there's something exciting in football, so definitely keep on watching us. Thank you, Mr. Tom Marshall. Thank you, Mr. Naive, and also Cesar. I know you guys are going to be super busy. Tom, I'm sure you're getting ready to start traveling. You're going to be all around, right? You're going to be traveling, Tom?
Yeah, I think Saturday and Atlanta, and then Sunday San Diego. But it's weird with the Liga MX going on as well, isn't it? I mean, so I don't know. Maybe I'll be in touch with Cesar, seeing if we can find a place for the final on Sunday.
Yeah, let's do it.
Awesome. Yeah.
That was very
My
enthusiastic.
internet worked today.
Yeah.
Naive, are you traveling to the U.S. for? Are you going back to
No,
Houston?
I still don't have my agenda. Hopefully in the next week or so I'll know.
We'll see where we're at. We'll definitely. I know we're all going to be together sometime soon, so it should be fun, guys. Thanks a lot. Thanks to all of you that are watching, and obviously, definitely subscribe to our YouTube channel. Looking to get to that 1,000 subscriber, we'll be saying you. So if you're on the chat, subscribe and like our Facebook and our Twitter. Twitter, especially with the Mexican Soccer Show Twitter, you're going to see all of the articles that we that these guys also, contribute for their respective website, ESPN FC. Yes, ESPN FC. All of them. Also, Soccer Nation for Cesar that you're on there. So just a lot of information. We love the support, and any questions that you guys all have, definitely send them our way. We'll try to answer them as best that we can. Thank you so much to Amy, our intern, who is working behind the scenes with the Mexican Soccer Show, and also tweeting and live tweeting today. So lots and lots of stuff. We'll see you guys. I think we'll have a show before next Monday. I definitely want to get these guys' thoughts on what's happening, especially with the league and some of the games, maybe before the Paraguay game and Mexico-Paraguay that's happening on Thursday, right? Yeah, the game's on Thursday.
Wait, the Paraguay game or the game against?
Sorry. Now so many games that I get confused on it.
The Warriors? All right, the Warriors. Let's see how they do after the loss to OKC last night.
The Warriors?
All right. Down 2-1. 2-1.
Yeah, man, it's worrisome.
We'll see where that goes. Tom is like, what?
Carlos Vela's worried. Carlos Vela. It's the Carlos Vela curse. I blame Carlos Vela for Warriors losing the first game.
Yeah, man. First thing he did when he showed up in the U.S., immediately went to Warriors game. No surprise.
Oh, man, he gets a call. All right, guys. Have a great rest of your nights. Another edition of Mexican Soccer Show. This was Monday Night Football. We'll talk to you the rest of the week. Adios.